Welcome back to another episode of TVGP's Critical Misses, catching up on all the media hits we missed. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpier.
Hi, I think. I don't know.
I think we're ready. We're going to do a quick twofer this season. If you're a patron at the $5 or a higher tier, and you're listening to this when it comes out, last week you heard about our Season 13 production meeting. Kind of went through a bunch of stuff, maybe came up with another couple of seasons, as we're wont to do. And we...
Make one, create three.
Yes, yes. And we came up with this this season. We've been talking about a little bit. I'm not going to spoil the production meeting or anything, but we've been talking about for a while that we'd like to have some more comedies on the show. And we thought, hey, why not now? So we're going to do a quick twofer of 21 Jump Street followed by 22 Jump Street. And that is the movies, not the TV show.
Yep.
So
I don't want to watch a child's Johnny Depp. Thank you very much.
That's right. That's right. So this is one of the rare ones where I have seen both of these, and Moon has seen neither. So I guess we'll start off with the what do you know about these ones, Moon?
Oh, literally nothing.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure these are not the Steve Buscemi ones.
Correct. I don't know what that would be, but Steve Buscemi is one of the few actors not in this movie.
The Hello Fellow Teens gif.
Oh, that's God, yeah, what movie is that? I think that's actually 30 Rock.
Okay. But it's definitely not that one.
Right.
Is this Channing Tatum?
Yes, which is
okay.
Probably the first movie I saw Channing Tatum in. Apparently, I'm going to have a really hard time saying his name. Where I was sort of like, all right, yeah, maybe this dude can act. Like, maybe he's got the chops.
Yeah, I've seen too many movies with him in where he tries to be the big action hero star, and I haven't liked him in any of those roles.
Yeah, ditto, and I feel like in this, with him being in a comedy, I was like, yeah, man, okay. Yeah, he's going to do real great in this one. It's like, whoops, nope, he actually, all right, he can hold his own. It's pretty good.
So it's probably a friendship piece, would be my guess. And by that I mean it's a piece made by a group of friends. So I'm specifically thinking of the Adam Sandler family of movies. So I'm trying to figure out which friend group did this law. This probably isn't Ben Stiller's friend group.
I actually don't think it is a friend group one. Do you know who directed this?
Nope.
Lord and Miller. Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. You might know them from the thing they did right before this movie is Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, which I've
heard is incredible, but nobody gives it the appreciation it deserves.
Really, both of them are really good, and no one has seen them. So they did that movie right before this. They did 21 Jump Street. Then they did Cloudy 2. They wrote that movie. Then they directed and wrote the Lego movie. Then they did Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Wrote that.
Okay, so
Lego Movie 2, and then they're writing the next 2 Spider-Verse movies.
Okay. So quite a big name to live up to here. So this better be funny, is what I'm hearing.
And it's sort of interesting because I feel like, for me, I've known about Lord and Miller for a really long time because I liked the MTV show Clone High, which nobody has watched.
That rings a bell. I think maybe one of my sisters watched it, but not for me, kind of thing.
It's a genuinely funny MTV cartoon from late 90s, I think. It only got one season. It's like 7 episodes, 12 episodes, maybe.
Now, if you want to talk about space cases, then we've got a deal.
Yeah, there you go. But it's one of those things where the humor in the show was one of those where it's like, all right, these guys get the sort of slightly left of center humor that I kind of like, where it's a little bit weird. It's not too weird. It's not cringe. It's just kind of everything's a little bit weird, and I kind of respect that.
Yeah, and that is something worth mentioning while we're talking about comedies. Like, I physically do not like cringe movies, like
Mm-hmm.
cringe comedy, that kind of thing. It makes me physically unwell.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe uneasy is a better term to use, but whatever, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons why comedy is going to be hard to cover on this show, is because since what, The Hangover, all
Mm-hmm.
comedy feels like cringe comedy these days.
Well, and we talked about it during the production meeting, but we're trying to avoid the best we can the Ace Ventura effect, which is, yeah, this is a pretty good movie, except for this
Oh
one
boy.
really bad thing. Like
Uh-huh.
for 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 Ace Ventura, one of the funniest comedy scenes I think is the rhino birthing scene. That
Yes,
never
from Ace
fails to
2.
make me laugh crying. But man, the like anti-trans terribleness in that first movie is just, it's not something we can overlook
No.
since its release. So that's, I mean, there's plenty of comedies for us to watch for sure. But it's going to be a little bit of few and far between here at the beginning as we try and figure out
What
what we're going to
works?
watch and how we're going to cover it. Because the other hard
Uh-huh.
part about covering comedies is you don't want to
You
come here
tell
in the
the joke.
second part. Yeah, just tell the joke for 30 minutes and be like, all right, see ya. Like there's, you got to cover
Yeah.
it interestingly. So we know
It's a
that,
difficult thing to cover.
yeah. So we know the directors. Do you know anybody else who stars in the movie other than Mr. Tatum? There's two leads.
This
I'm
is gonna
surprised you don't know the other lead.
I know his face, but the problem is I get all of the short fat dudes with beards mixed up, so I don't know which one it is.
A-
Um
After The Hangover, that's an understandable problem.
yeah, because there's a whole bunch of people cut from the same cloth, and they're
Hmm.
all smaller, bigger white guys with beards,
Right.
specifically neck beards in almost every single one of those instances. And
Right.
it's like, I don't know which one you are. Like, you just blend in with the rest of them at this point.
This one
Um,
is Jonah Hill.
okay.
Yeah.
I've definitely seen him. He was the main reason I get these all conflated is also because of the movie This Is the End,
Oh, okay.
which is a genuinely hilarious movie.
Hmm.
I do like that movie a lot. That is done by that group of friends, I believe. Green Goblin from the original Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah. I think it's done. It's like the Judd Apatow group.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's full of those white guys with beards.
So
Which,
a lot of people poking up, and he was like, "Hey, it's Seth Rogen. What's up, man?"
yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly who I get this guy mixed up with, is Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen and this guy a lot get mixed
Okay.
up.
They have been in a fair number of things together.
Yeah, and I'm also pretty sure now, I think Jonah Hill is also the one who suddenly got ripped over the past 2 years.
I think so. There was some pushback because people were like, "Well, he's not going to be funny anymore because he's not fat," and you went on the internet to be like, "What the hell, man? For real?
Uh-huh.
That sucks, dude." Jeez.
Yeah, because sure, why not? Let's make fun of the dude for getting in shape.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else you know who's in this one?
You said everybody's in it. I did catch that.
Uh huh.
So let's
It's one of
see.
those movies where a character will pop up and you'll be like, "Oh, okay, you have gone on to do big things. This is clearly very early in your career, but wow, okay."
Okay, so is it one of those where it's like up and coming people, or is it one of those things where it's like these are a bunch of famous people who want to do a cameo?
It's one of those things where it's like, "Oh, you were a small star at the time, and now you're in Marvel movies." Okay, all right, cool.
In Marvel movies,
Uh huh.
jeez.
Yeah, so
Um,
it's kind of fun to see a whole bunch of people in here where it's like, wow, this is like, I'm thinking of one person in particular that I almost don't want to spoil it. I'm trying to think if this was one of her first
she,
movies here.
she, okay.
Yep.
She in Marvel movies really narrows it down by quite a lot.
Yeah, this was Scott Pilgrim versus the World and 21 Jump Street were like her first two movies.
Okay, so it's Brie Larson.
It is. Yeah, playing a surprisingly major role in here of just like, wow, you were a baby.
The second
and
you say Scott Pilgrim and Marvel, it's either Chris Evans or Brie Larson.
Right. Yet sadly, I don't think Chris Evans is actually in this one, which it would have been around that time frame, but he's not in this one.
Okay, that's good to know. But honestly, I don't know. I don't
Okay.
know. Like I know as much about this as I know about the TV show, which is it's a bunch of grown dudes get sent back to high school because they've got to bust a drug ring, I believe it is.
You got the plot. There it is.
Which I only know that because I read the unofficial biography of Johnny Depp when I was like 16. And they went over the TV show plot in specific details.
Gotcha.
So I'm guessing with the same name, it probably shares the same plot.
Yeah, I think how much you enjoy this movie will be how much you enjoy them kind of playing around with the plot overall. But I obviously...
I'm fine with that. Like,
yeah.
Adam Sandler's made some stonkers in his time, but Billy Madison is a classic. I don't care what anybody says. That is genuinely a fantastic movie. So I'm fine with them taking that concept and just putting it on its side and just playing with it a little bit, like poke it with a stick. Let's go. Like,
yeah, exactly.
One of the best scenes in Billy Madison is the dodgeball scene, where he's failing all of the school classes, and then hey, it's gym, which is dodgeball, and hey, guess what? All you kids are dead.
Murdering these children. Yeah. Yeah, I don't really want to talk about anyone else that's in this movie because I think a lot of it is just going to be like, oh, it's him. Oh, it's her. Oh, geez, it's these guys. I'm trying to think of what else to talk about here. It's a little bit tough because I think I like this movie a lot if I'm looking for kind of a modern comedy to go back to. This is kind of on one of my short lists here. Okay. So this is a movie I put on the list pretty early because I think it's nice to get like a 1-2 punch kind of comedies here without it being like, all right, part 7, let's go. It hasn't been funny since part 1, but let's keep doing it. Movie. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which you'll enjoy the outro of 22 Jump Street after that comment. Oh,
great.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like we should probably wrap this up and before we spoil anything, and let's go watch the movie.
Sounds like a plan to me.
We're over here. Welcome back. We watched the film on the other monitor. That's where Moon is. Oh boy, what a week! What a couple of weeks. Hey. All right, let's dive right into 21 Jump Street. Moon before this told me that he has no notes. I also have no notes, largely because I've seen this movie probably about 25 times. So, I did regrettably miss a scene. I wish that I had warned Moon about beforehand. So for anyone that maybe doesn't know, Moon has a kind of a visceral
I know
aversion.
Exactly what scene you're talking about. As well.
A visceral aversion to vomiting in any forms. So
yeah, it's two things. It's teeth and vomiting. It's like teeth makes me want to vomit, and anything to do with vomit also makes me want to vomit. So it's hilariously fun when there's long extended scenes in things like the Scary Movie, where there is just an epic scene of vomiting. Stuff like that is just like, no, you're literally going to make me vomit now. Thanks for that.
Right. All right, let's start at the beginning here with a really great intro scene in 2005.
This sets the time so well. For anybody who was alive in that time frame, this is like, yes, I get it.
Those first couple notes of Real Slim Shady dropping is just like, yep, this is real. And then Schmidt, also, I didn't know his first name was Morton. So Morton Schmidt shows up on screen dressed as the real Slim Shady, which is just really good.
It's very 2005. Like, I think especially it's a very American 2005 because you could
Yep.
not get away with that stuff in England because we had to wear uniforms.
Ah, sure. Yes. Yeah, it feels very era appropriate. And we get an introduction to both Schmidt and Jenko as Schmidt tries to ask his crush to prom, and she delivers the heart-crushing line of, "You're not trying to ask me to prom, are you?" Which is just brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As someone who has social anxiety, this scene kind of hits hard with me because it's like, yeah.
I feel like
can't do that either.
I feel like most of us have been in Schmidt's shoes and not Jenko's shoes, which is probably the marketing for this movie. Find that Jenko is going to miss prom, even though he's going to be prom king, because he's failing. Is a really good scene of the two of them kind of outside the school. Both of them being upset for pretty different reasons.
Yes.
A couple years later, they meet again at the police academy, and I like the shared line of "You're good at this, huh?"
Yeah. I like the fact that he literally says to him, "Oh, hey, it's a real Slim Shady." It's like,
right,
yeah, okay,
the not so Slim Shady. Yep, which is like a horrible and great joke at the same time. Is it feels like one of those things. Before anyone gets upset that I said it's a great joke, it feels like one of those things that someone who knew you nearly a decade ago in high school would be like, "Hey, it's you," and you're like, "God, I didn't even remember. We all made mistakes, man, in high school. You're the only one that remembers this." So I
spoil a lot of people who are like that peaked at that time frame, as Schmidt goes on to say later in the movie.
Also, for anyone that's watching the video version, I think Louise just opened Moon's closet behind him.
Yeah, she did.
Great.
I'm not haunted.
Great chaos. Oh god. So they the two of them help each other to get through police academy, and they graduate to the lofty position of bike cops. They are on bike patrol, and they actually make a drug bust. They bust the leader of the 1%er motorcycle gang, and then absolutely fail to read him his Miranda rights, which is
because he doesn't know them.
He doesn't know them.
Just doesn't know them.
As he says later, because the cop show's always cut after the first line. He's like, great. I do like the actual gunfire in the park when Schmidt gets way too excited about their first bust.
Which is funny because he literally could not shoot at the guy.
That's right.
But then the second he's celebrating, he's legitimately like firing blah 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 into the air. And I think he even says blah 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 as he's doing it.
I think he might. Yeah. So they go back to celebrate, and they run into their deputy chief, who turns out to be Nick Offerman, in a really good tiny role of just police chief that is way over these guys' BS. I like him saying like, it's 57 words, like you just do the Miranda rights right now.
Yeah, it's like 57 words, 4 sentences with a preparatory question at the end.
Right.
Like,
and then
so good.
Jenko says you reserve the right to be an attorney. It's really good. So I like the little bit of kind of wink and nod that the movie starts to do at this point of like, the higher-ups, they're all out of ideas, so they're just going to recycle stuff from like 25, 30 years ago and hope nobody knows this. Yeah.
who
And
gives the angry black man speech and is like, "Yeah, I'm an angry black man. Sometimes it's good to live into your stereotypes," and then immediately calls out Schmidt and Jenko on their stereotypes. And it's just
I like Ice Cube being. Sometimes I get angry. Like that's just he does a real great job in this movie, and I like the two of them showing up to 21 Jump Street dressed as cops. Like, just
when literally they were said, it said there was. He said, I think, I'm pretty sure he said when he was sending them there, he was like, "I'm sending you undercover."
into 37 Jump Street. Wait, that doesn't sound right.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, and then like Ice Cube's just disgust of Schmidt and his like begrudging respect to Jenko of just like, look, you're big and you're gonna play sports and that's great. I was not talking to you, Schmidt. Like, I think he says like, whenever I say shut the F up, that's when I'm talking to you. It's just like, Jesus, man.
Yeah.
I like the unveiling that Schmidt was in the juggling squad in high school.
I think you will find it was the Juggling Society. Thank you very much.
Society. Yeah, because he says, like, oh, your file here says you were a virgin in high school. And he's like, wait, does it really say that? And he said, no, it's your interest in the chess club. And he was like, it was the Juggling Society. But when he get into it, the captain wants them to go to Sagan High School to stop the new synthetic drug HFS, which stands for two words that we can't say on the show. But it's a new drug. They watch the
YouTube video.
The YouTube video. The kid's name always makes me laugh because it's William Willingham, which is just a really great like rich white kid name. But he takes the HFS and puts the results on YouTube. Ice Cube has a really good reaction to they're high schoolers. They're really stupid. Like that's why it's on YouTube.
Yep.
And he goes through the.
He's not wrong. I mean, we saw it very recently. Some idiot rented a Tesla and started doing jumps with it. So okay, sure.
That's right. Oh, what a video that was, man. And goes through like the 5 phases of HFS, like the gigs and over falsity of confidence and all the good stuff there. And then we find out he's dead.
Tripping M&F and balls.
That's right. It's just him staring into the camera for a couple seconds is really good. So they get new identities. They are Brad and Doug McQuaid, which is really good. Obviously, Schmidt is taking largely kind of science classes, and Jenko is largely taking the arts and humanities. I really like some of the scene here where they go to Schmidt's parents' house because they're going to live with them while they're undercover. That's all pretty good stuff. There's a little bit of ad-libbing there that I feel like goes on a little bit too long.
The baby photo, the 7-year-old photo.
Yeah,
I do like the line though where he's like, "Am I wearing underwear in this photo? I'm not. I know because I remember, and I've spoken to my therapist about it like 8,000 times."
That's right. And I'm glad they touch on the photo because them dealing with it after the party is a really good bit of business, like with the airplane throwing up. That stuff, bringing that full circle is really good. But I actually really like this 1-strap, 2-strap scene with the book bag. Jenko saying like, "Man, if I could, I'd no-strap it."
Yes, because for those of you who don't know, and I don't know if it's still a rule in high school or not, but that was very much a high school thing when I was in high school, was like, if you put 2 straps on, you are a nerd and you will get the crap picked out of you.
That's right.
So every day I went to high school, I put my 2 straps on and embraced the fact that I was a nerd in a school full of roughhousing idiots.
That's right. Yeah, I feel like when this movie really nails this stuff, it is dead on, especially with kind of them reacclimating to high school here, because I like Jenko going in with like a decade-old knowledge of high school and just being like, yeah, man, it's my time to live again. Like, this is the prime time of my life. Let's do it.
Uh-huh.
They decide not to take Schmidt's car because it's just a real piece of junk. So they take one out of the motor pool, and then they decide to do cool guy jumps over it and just 100% hit Schmidt and like break his ribs.
Yeah, don't be revving it like a-hole kids.
That's right.
Cut to revving it like a-hole kids.
It's really good. So they take that, they go to school, they park in a jerk way. Jenko is trying to figure out what the groups of kids are now. It's like, oh, there's the nerds, there's the goths. I don't know what those are.
That is.
Right.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is.
Yep. And he's kind of, everybody's two-strapping it, not really caring. And they run into what is Dave Franco, Eric. So they run into Eric, Dave Franco in this role, hanging out with Brie Larson.
It's worth saying, they're already established, yeah, the first person who fronts up to me, I'm going to just punch him in the face because it's the first day of school.
That's right. So
yeah.
Jenko makes fun of this kid for trying. They're talking about how Eric's car is run on, it smells like egg rolls. It's like, yeah, it does, man.
Yeah, because it's like a biofuel, and they're environmentalists and everything else.
That's right. And the kid who steps to Jenko gets punched in the face. Turns out he's gay, and leads to a genuinely great altercation of, I was gay when you punched me. Like,
yes,
it's really good. And then
I do like Schmidt's escaping line from this, though, where he throws down his Uno reverse card. He's like, well, wouldn't it be more homophobic to not have hit you?
He's just like, he's trying to weasel out of it. It's like, well, I mean, isn't it a little more fair that, like, you know, yeah. We do cut to the principal, who's Jake Johnson, one of my favorite comedic actors of all time, with the incredible line of, I am one gay black kid being punched in the mouth from a total breakdown, which is really good. And then leaning into the like weird 80s-ness of this, of like, a kid died last week and nobody, including myself, is doing anything about it. Doesn't that seem weird?
Yeah. The principal's good, but odd. Like, I know that dude's face. I've definitely seen him and stuff, but I couldn't tell you what it is.
Yeah, he was one of the main cast in New Girl, probably most famously. But he's been in a bunch of different movies too. But I like pretty much everybody from the get-go is just like, Jenko, you look like you're 40. Like the coach says, like, you got the muscle mass of like a 22-year-old. This is incredible.
When did you go through puberty? Were you 7?
That's right. That's right. So he gives them their classwork. They, of course, forget. Jenko forgets his name. They get switched, of course. And we start kind of getting this. The thing that I think the movie does really well is both of them are kind of fish out of water, where
it's like it does like a weird trading places thing, or Sweet 16 or whatever those movies are, where like the parents switch places with the kids.
Yeah,
like it does that kind of thing where the smart one's in the dumb classes, the dumb one is in the smart classes. And I do have to ask, because I didn't look up the cast. Is that Kimmy Schmidt I see as a teacher?
No, that's Ellie Kemper. Does she play Kimmy Schmidt?
I don't know. That's what
I'll look it up. I think she does. Yeah, but she was in The Office for a little bit. She was Kimmy Schmidt in that show.
Okay.
She's great. She's not in enough stuff, but she's
no.
She's fantastic.
She she rides that questionable line in this movie pretty well, like
Mm-hmm.
never stepping over too far, like
Mm-hmm.
just dipping a toe over the line of this could be really problematic real quickly.
That's right. Yeah,
But
this like super thirsty teacher of just like, oh my, you are not the normal kid that's in these classes. Oh, geez. Um,
uh-huh.
yeah, it's interesting to see Jenko in kind of this AP chemistry class or app chemistry as he called it. Um, it's, it's really good. Um,
Uh-huh.
and the pop Quiznos. Um, I I really like Schmidt going to uh, the theater class, and
Uh-huh.
number one, Chris Parnell as the drama teacher. He's always great.
That's why I recognize the voice. I've seen
Mm-hmm.
next to nothing with him in it that's not his voice.
Cyril Figgis. Um,
Yes.
yeah,
And
yeah.
the documentary guy from Shark Game. He does the voice acting in the Shark Game
Oh,
as the
does
documentary
he?
guy.
Oh,
Yes.
that's great. I don't remember what the name of that game is, but yes, that's great. Um, he's super good as this like you can tell he's been telling the same story of this like off Broadway production for like the last 20 years, and everyone's pretty tired of hearing about it. Um,
Uh-huh.
Schmidt gets a lead on HFS from Molly, who the sort of the classically pretty theater girl who is in the class in front of him. Um, and then Schmidt has to go up and audition for the role, which is as disastrous as you would expect it would be. Um,
Yep. Yep. Real
Chris
awkward. And
Chris
then they
Pine.
get put he runs out of he runs out of the class as well because he gets a text back. It's like, yeah, this room 5 minutes.
Yeah, they have the he texted the lead he got on the dealer. Also, we forgot to talk about the great insistent scene from Ice Cube way earlier of like infiltrate the dealer, find the supplier, and they're like, yeah, but what
Oh,
if we? And he just smacks the desk and keeps repeating it. Like that's a really good of just like, don't use your brains, just go do this job. Like I don't need
yep.
you to do what you're doing right now. Um, yeah, so they go and they find out that the dealer is Eric, who I really like the little touch that he's working on the yearbook, like by
Uh-huh.
himself in this dark room of just like, yeah, that feels pretty appropriate of just like, I don't know, we'll get a student to do it, whatever. Um, so he is going to give them some HFS with the caveat they need to take it right now. So they do. Um,
It's only because he needs to know they're cool and they're not
that's right,
narcs.
right, right, because of
A
course both
narc,
of them
a
freak
narc would
out.
accuse somebody else of being a narc.
That's right. I like both of them freak out when they're like, "Narc, what? Whoa, what? No, what?" One of them mentions it tastes like Cool Ranch, which is a real nice touch for later in the movie. Um, and then they decide to go have the throw up scene. Um, the best of which, the thing that will
Oh,
always tickle me.
so yeah, can we talk about this? There's two scenes then that got to me because I completely had blacked this scene out of my memory.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and
Uh,
I think the thing that makes this funny is how full of double entendres it is.
yeah. Yeah.
Like it's relatively innocent, we'll say. It's not, but we'll call it relatively innocent.
Right.
But their phrasing choices is really, really poor.
It gets real spicy the longer it goes on. I will always have a weakness too for completely unfazed person walks by in the background. In this case, the janitor is just like, not my problem, man. Like that always cracks me up. Um, and they start. They're trying to run back to their classes, and they run into Rob Riggle, who is playing Mr. Walters, the PE teacher. I am forever a big fan of Rob Riggle, and he kills it in this movie as well.
Don't know if I've ever seen anything.
Oh man, he's been in a lot. He has been. He's done a lot of voice work as well. I don't know what else he has been in that's been like a good non-voice role. I don't know, he's been in everything. Gosh. He was in Brooklyn Nine-Nine for one episode as well. But they run into him, and that's when they start feeling the effects of HFS. In one of my great weird scenes in this movie of the gigs is pretty okay, but when his head starts transforming into other things, that's
Like the puppets and everything. Yeah, that's a little bit weird.
the "Don't blow on me, son" line is when he has like the animatronic cat head. It's really good.
It's because whenever he's blowing, it's doing like a foghorn sound as well.
That's right. Yeah, it's really good. So they agree to join to get out of getting written up and sent to the principal. They agree to Schmidt essentially agrees to running on the track team, which I appreciate that they just lean all the way into, and the PE teacher is like, okay, well, if that's you, if you're the all-state football star, then sure, I guess. So that's where we get the over falsity of confidence scenes where Schmidt goes back and nails the theater tryout. Everybody's really feeling it. He sings "I've Got a Crow," nails it.
Yep.
Jenko is messing with the band.
Yep, and then we get the track meet scene.
Him knocking the baton out of the other racer's hands is really good.
I think honestly, for me, it's probably the dancing stuff. Like of him like doing a whole bunch of dancing.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, okay, sure.
Oh,
fine.
Man. Yeah. This is sort of where we start to see Schmidt and Jenko becoming friends with kind of the clique or the groups that they are the opposite of what they would have been friends. Like Schmidt is kind of getting further into Eric and Molly's group, this kind of like crunchy, cool, hippie eco group, and Jenko starts becoming friends with the other nerds in the AP chemistry class, and I don't know if this is this. Oh, this is where Jenko starts finding out that the AP chemistry nerds can plant something in someone's phone and hear and whatnot and bug their phone.
Yes.
This is also where Schmidt and Jenko start setting up for their big party. And I like the scene of like, it almost feels like it's taking like a direct shot at some other kind of teenager coming of age party movies. You know, we're sort of like, how are we going to afford alcohol? Like, how are we going to buy alcohol? I don't have a fake ID. And they start laughing and they just go to the liquor store. You know, I like the line where they go into, where all the drugs are kept in the evidence locker. And he's like, we got a pound of cocaine. And he's like, we're trying to show them a good time, not ruin their lives. And he's like, I got a pound of weed. And it's like, there we go.
Best high school party ever.
That's right. So they start throwing the party. Jenko has the great idea to steal Eric's phone to try and plant a bug in it, so the nerds can plant a bug in it, and that way they can hear who Eric is talking to try and get to the supplier. As Eric is a little bored of the party, he starts to go leave. Jenko thinks the plant is a bust, and then a giant fight breaks out between pretty much everybody. Schmidt, sort of against all odds, wins the fight, and also...
Now, can we talk about probably one of the best lines in this movie?
Which one's that?
Use your words. Use your words.
There's, I feel like I caught so many more of those kind of like throwaway lines that were part of the action in this one, in this watching, because I was watching a little bit closer than I normally do. And use your words was probably one of the standout ones in this one of just,
He's getting beat down. And
right.
he's like holding him off with a cushion, yelling "Use your words" over and over and over again.
It's really good. Schmidt wins the fight and then finds out he got stabbed. And they pull out the like ceremonial dagger that he got stabbed with.
Pull it up.
That's right.
Pull it up.
And then, as it feels appropriate, Eric is kind of like, hey man, this is like the best party I've been to in years. You're pretty cool. Maybe I can bring you in on some of this stuff. Like maybe we can make a deal here. The next real big scene is Schmidt going over to a kind of a crunchy party at Eric's house, where Jenko has the nerds turn on the bug in his phone. He hears some information about the dealer and the supplier. He also hears Schmidt almost choke on asking Molly to prom.
Yep, and he actually chokes.
He does actually choke, which is really pretty good. And he also unfortunately hears Schmidt kind of crap talking him to be cooler to the cool eco kids, which I like the one line from the nerds, which is like, man, he's being kind of a jerk right now. It's like, yeah, he is. What do we have next here? So Schmidt and Jenko run into the pinata scene here.
Yeah.
Where they sort of are tracking down the motorcycle gang, and they accidentally run into them because they're both driving a driving school car, which...
Oh, they intercept the thing and they follow them because the Dodge has been booted because they keep parking it where they keep parking it.
That's right. They keep parking in the handicap spot, which is... They thought it would be cool, which is really good. They have a whole chase on the freeway. They steal a pink car. They try to blow up a couple of different cars, and they don't blow up, which is...
Yeah.
The little... It's an okay joke, but I do like they're both leaning down, and there's no music, and there's almost no sound effects, and they're just like, oh, I thought that would blow up. Like, that kind of sudden silence, I think, is really good. And then for the truck with the chickens on the back of it to blow up after the Wilhelm scream is pretty good.
Yep.
They all go back to school. Schmidt couldn't shoot the guy on the that had the HFS with him. They go back to school. Schmidt has missed the play. He busts on stage. The Peter Pans start to have a fight, and then Jenko just tackles him in midair, which is a really good... Yeah.
The play scene is interesting because he's literally doing scenes from the animated movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where like he's doing the hands on the hips, the jump over kind of sideways thing, which we missed the whole conversations about the outfit, like if it's too revealing or not, by the way.
Yeah. I really like Jonah Hill when he's talking and flirting to Brie Larson in this movie. Like it does feel pretty genuine in a way that it doesn't in a lot of these movies. Like, it feels like the two of them are kind of having a lot of fun making this movie, and I think it, especially in those scenes where it's just the two of them. I feel like it really comes out pretty clearly. But they get expelled from school, and Ice Cube fires them in a scene of like, "You're not going to yell at us." And he's like, "No, I'm just going to fire you." And as they're kind of leaving after their fight, Eric asks them nicely to protect him, and which leads to
because he has a board the fact that they are cops yet,
right.
And he's like, "Yeah, I need people who I can trust."
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, police issue like 45s, like
Yeah.
you know.
I like Schmidt's throwaway line of like, "We're not really gun people." And then they just his other line after they shoot all the bottles, he's like, it's beginner's luck.
Yep.
So he's worried about the motorcycle club and the supplier. Kind of, it seems like Eric has not been keeping up his end of the deal. So he wants them to keep him safe during prom. I kind of like this scene of the two of them getting, it's the typical like arming up for battle montage, but they're also putting on like bulletproof vests and a tux and getting ready for prom at the same time, and then doing like mowing the lawn for Schmidt's mom. I don't remember where it lands, but I also forgot about the scene where Schmidt gets accosted in like a Kohl's or whatever by the neighborhood gossip lady, who's just like, "Oh, you're undercover, like it's so cute. Are you undercover right now?" Like, just wants to text the person. I like that scene a lot. So they go to prom, and they find that the supplier is Mr. Walters, the PE teacher, who accidentally created the drug out of a bunch of stuff and some Doritos. And he started selling it because being a teacher doesn't pay well, and he has to pay alimony.
Yeah. I'm on a teacher's salary, and it barely covers my alimony.
Yep. It's a pretty good and pretty sobering line. And he unveils that he caught Eric smoking weed behind one of the buildings and sort of blackmailed him into being his dealer. At that point, the motorcycle gang shows up, and then the deal is going fairly well until Molly, who is on HFS, starts banging down the door and lets them know that, hey, these two guys are cops. And everything goes really wrong until two of the gang members reveal themselves to be undercover DEA agents, Tom Hansen and Doug Penhall, a.k.a. the two dudes from the original 21 Jump Street, including Johnny Depp.
Yep.
Johnny Depp just had a fake nose on the whole movie, had a real good line at the beginning of, "If these two kids are cops, then I'm DEA." Coming.
I missed that line completely.
Yep. It's really good. So they bond very quickly over them being on the original 21 Jump Street gang until Johnny Depp gets shot through the neck while they're talking. And then a whole huge shootout happens as the two 21 Jump Street people sort of bury the hatchet as they're dying in kind of a great scene. They start escaping. Jenko kills a dude who's trying to kill Schmidt, and that's his first kill as a cop. So of course he throws up on Schmidt as they're running away, which is, I really like that scene of like, "You just killed a dude," and he's like, "Yeah, blarp."
It's like, "Yep, great, thanks, vomit." Yay.
They run away. There's a big car chase that happens. Jenko decides to use his newfound scientific knowledge to create a bomb, and throws it at the gang members, blows up that whole limo. Mr. Walters tries to shoot Schmidt, but Janko takes the bullet kind of in his arm and in his bulletproof chest, or bulletproof vest, saving Schmidt. Schmidt shoots the PE teacher right in the downstairs apartment. Right. And severs the organ down there. They arrest Mr. Walters, and both of them read his Miranda rights very loudly and aggressively. And Schmidt and Janko are both friends again, and they very quickly call the 911 to fix up a whole lot of people. And so Schmidt and Janko kind of reconcile their relationship. Schmidt and Molly fix up their relationship. They have a smoochy kiss, as my daughter would call it. And both officers are sort of reinstated in the Jump Street program. And I like the last couple of lines in this movie where Ice Cube is saying, like, if you guys want to just like drink and do drugs and flirt with kids, then I have the perfect place for you to go. And Janko says, "Ooh, I love Disneyland."
Yeah,
it's a really great, horrible line.
Savage take.
Yeah. And then he said, "Y'all are going to college," and Schmidt says yes, and Janko says no, and that's the end. And we get like a quick montage at the end where the thirsty teacher sleeps with Janko, and she says he's better than like he's better than both Hardy Boys. It's just such a weird line, man. I love it. She's so good. But yeah, that's the end of 21 Jump Street. A wild, short over an hour and a half ride. What did you think about this film?
I liked it. Like, it actually went pretty quickly, but at the same time, it was relatively slow moving. If that makes any sense at all.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like trying to hit the jokes constantly every minute of while you were in there. It was just telling a relatively slow paced story that I thought it was a solid watch. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not my favorite thing I've ever seen, but it's also nothing that's super disappointing.
I have to give this movie a lot of credit because I think for me, I like comedies like this where it's a little weird, it's a little bit referential, but like you said, it's not Airplane, it's not a joke a minute, and thankfully very few people try to be Airplane because you can't replicate that movie. But I think it also tells a fairly okay mystery story. Like this drug that is showing up, and as we find out a little bit over halfway in the movie, it's starting to spread to other schools pretty quickly. And it is, of course, really very bad. There's like a throwaway line of Billiam Willingham died of HFS because he had like a heart murmur. But everybody thinks that's kind of like not the real story. But I think it actually it manages to tell a pretty good they solve a pretty good mystery in this movie. And we also forgot to talk about Korean Jesus, which is one of my favorite lines from Ice Cube. Is just like, leave him alone, he busy. It's just like yeah. That's great.
He's not interested in your crap.
Yeah, that's right. This is one of my kind of comfort comedies when I want to watch something that I've watched a whole bunch before. A lot of the jokes are really solid. There's nothing you like super have to pay attention to on future watches. It's weird, and it has everybody in it. Like Dakota Johnson is a bit part in this. Like, everybody is in this movie, including Johnny Depp, as you find out near the end. And for me, it's just like one of those solid kind of. I think if we were talking about a video game, I think we'd call it like a B-tier movie. Like, it's just kind of like, it's not, oh, this is the comedy you need to watch. It's this. Here's this movie. You like drop everything and go watch it. It's like, no, this is a solid thing.
It's good middle of the road, and it's not overly offensive in any direction at all.
Mm-hmm.
It pushes the boundaries in some areas, but generally speaking, it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess we should. I should have pulled up. I'll ask you the question that you usually ask me, which is, do you feel like you wish you would have watched this when it came out?
Honestly, I'm fine with not having seen it when it came out because I know
Mm-hmm.
this was one of those things that like the trailers hit and then everybody's like, "Oh, it's going to be so bad,"
Mm-hmm.
and then most people came out of it with a positive impression, and I was like, "That's cool," but at the same time, I was still on the back of like the Jonah Hill train from like Superbad and everything else that I don't like. So it's like
Yeah.
I ain't gonna see that because it's
Yeah.
probably
It's
going to
like,
be one of those family, like I said, one of those family things where it's the Jonah Hill, Seth Rogen fan club
yeah.
all
Yeah.
trying to
Because
make each other laugh.
I feel like there was the 1-2 punch of like super bad and Pineapple Express, where you're like, all right, this is just gonna be that's gonna be the movies that Jonah Hill does. And I think I had the same thing coming out of this movie too, where I'm like, that was way better than I was expecting. Um, and then I found out that like it was directed by uh, Lord and Miller, and I was like, okay, well their comedy sensibilities are typically kind of aligned with mine.
Yeah.
Um,
And I also totally forgot to mention that I do like the two lady officers who are clearly better at their jobs.
yes, they're like solving multiple high school mysteries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really good. IMDb has this rated as a 7.2 out of 10.
Okay.
That feels fair.
It feels about right, yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
This is probably going to be certified fresh, would be my guess.
it is certified fresh at 85% with an 82% audience score, which is maybe a
Yeah, 7,
smidge.
8 is about right, I would say.
Yeah, I feel like 85 is maybe like a smidge higher than I would have expected. But again, I think it's like a really solid movie. Like
Mhm.
there's nothing really super crazy about it. It's just kind of a well-made good comedy and kind of a good mystery too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty solid all around. I would
Yeah.
not be afraid to watch it again.
Yeah.
Like, I would be fine watching it again, to be
Yeah.
honest.
All right. Well, that's our coverage here of 21 Jump Street. We'll see you next episode for 22 Jump Street. Bye.
Gotta go to college.
Hey.